We starting off with Pythagoras theorem, but the topic is actually Pythagoras theorem and trigonometric ratios. So I'll put in on the Pythagoras theorem and trigonometric ratios. So you use the Pythagoras theorem and trigonometric ratios for right angle triangles, um, but the ratios that I'm going to show you, right, for right angle triangles. So what is Pythagoras theorem? Pythagoras theorem gives a relationship between the lengths of the sides of a right angle triangle, right? Well, relates, I should say, right? Or gives the yeah, gives a relationship between the lengths of the sides of a right angle triangle. Um, so a typical right angle triangle would look something like this. So you have a vertical line coming down, horizontal line going across. A vertical and horizontal line does always meet at a 90-degree angle. That means 90 degree. And we just connect this here like that. So this is a right angle triangle. Now the hypotenuse is always opposite the 90-degree angle. Where is the 90-degree angle? Well, let me label this triangle here. So let's say this point is A, this point is B, and this point is C. Which side you think is the 90 degree, well, is opposite the 90-degree angle in this triangle here? So the side that is opposite the 90-degree angle, because this is 90 degrees here, that little square means 90 degrees. The side that is opposite that side is the length A to C. So AC is the hypotenuse. So identifying the hypotenuse is very important to know. Right? I actually spell hypotenuse wrong. Right? That looks wrong as well. Anyway. Um, right. So AC is the hypotenuse. That is what you need to know for now. So we have this formula. You just have to know the formula. You don't have to derive it or whatever the case is. For um for the triangle shown above, we have this formula. AC squared, which is the hypotenuse squared, is equal to the sum of the two other sides squared. So that will be equal to AB squared plus BC squared. What is this really? This is really the hypotenuse squared. I could put that in brackets and I could squared. Hypotenuse squared is equal to the sum of the two other sides of the two squared sides of the two other sides squared. two other sides but squared, where each term is squared, for where each term is squared. If that explains that, that's right. Where each term is squared. Some of the two other sides where each side is squared, where each side is squared. So the hypotenuse is not one of these two sides. That is what you need to know, right? The hypotenuse is on the left hand side. The hypotenuse squared is equal to the sum of the two other sides where each side is squared. So the hypotenuse in this case is AC, so that is hypotenuse squared. That is equal to the sum of the two other sides. You have two other sides. You have AB and you have the side BC. Is equal to the sum of the two other sides where each side is squared. Understand this formula, right? We need to prove that. We just need to perform some calculations with this, you know. You are allowed to use a calculator in Form 3, right? Right, so we're gonna do some questions involving the use of a calculator. Right? So this is the first exercise. Find the length of the hypotenuse of the triangle shown in the diagram. Give your answer correct to two decimal places. Here I have the twice there. Right. So let's say we have this triangle here. Let's say this is 4 cm, this is 6 cm, and this is our 90-degree angle. They want to know what is the length of the missing side here. We say this is x. We do not know what is this. We have to solve for that. So again, just like the formula, once you learn of the formula for a right angle triangle, I'm relating the sides, this should be fine. First, you need to look at the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse is actually x. Yeah, I told you the question is to find the length of the hypotenuse. In this case, it's going to be x. Give the answer to two decimal places. Right? So we have the hypotenuse squared. In this case, it is x squared will be equal to the sum of the other sides where each term is squared. Each length is squared. So it can be 4 squared, sum means to add, plus the other side which is 6, and you need to square this. So you're going to get x squared is equal, 4 squared is 16, 6 squared is 36. So x squared will therefore be equal to 16 plus 36, which is 52. So x will therefore be equal, you need to use a calculator to find the square root of 52 to get your answer to two decimal places. X will therefore be the square root of 52, which is 7.21 centimeters. Understand this, right? Right? And that is Pythagoras theorem there. So another example with this is one where you do have to find the hypotenuse, but you have to use the same formula because it's a right angle triangle you're dealing with. So find the length of the side of the triangle marked X in the diagram. Okay, so we have the twice and a spell triangle and typo. Alright. So this is exercise 2. So I'm gonna label this as exercise 2. So let's say we have this triangle here, looking like this. Here is x, here is 3 cm, here is 6 cm. This is a 90-degree angle there. So we have to find the length of the side of the triangle marked x in the diagram. So again, we apply Pythagoras theorem here. So opposite the 90-degree angle will be the 6. So this will be 6 squared, since that is the hypotenuse, and that will be equal to the other side, well, the sum of the other sides where each term is squared. So it can be x squared plus 3 squared. That is 3 cm, so that is 3 squared. So you're going to get 36 is equal to x squared plus 9. So x squared will therefore be equal to 36 minus 9. So x squared will be equal to 36 minus 9, which is 27. So therefore, to find the value for x, you have to find the square root of 27. So x will therefore be equal to the square root of 27, which is 5.2 cm, approximately 5.2 cm, that is the one decimal place. Understand the solution here? So if you want, you can flip this equation here. If the signs are a bit mixed up, so you can say this is x squared plus 9 is equal to 36. That's the same thing as saying 36 is equal to x squared plus 9. Now you want to carry across the 9, so that's why it could become negative 9. So x squared is equal to 36 minus 9. So this is basically transposing the 9. In this case, I would have moved the 9 to the left hand side and I flip it one time. So that's how I went from this step to this step. Hence the 9 would have been negative. So therefore, this is the part that I had skipped out here. Right? So x squared would therefore be equal to the 27. So therefore, x will be equal to the square root of 27, which is 5.2 cm. So you can try these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions, and you have to find the angle mark x. Let me know when you're done. We'll correct it together, right? So part A, we have find the length of the side of side mark x in each triangle. So what you want to do here is you want to label it. Right, at the first step, where can I put the solution? Anyway, I have to try to fit it in. So this will be called the hypotenuse side. So I put HYP for hypotenuse. That's the side you really care about. So this will be 15 squared is equal to the sum of the other sides where each term is squared. So this will be x squared plus 12 squared. So 15 squared is 225. So this becomes, well, I'm putting x squared first. So I have x squared plus 12 squared is 144. And that's equal to 15 squared, which is 225, right? So x squared, I don't like how that's looking, so I'll move that just now, is 225 minus 144. So x squared, 225 minus 144, 81 is equal to 81. So x, if x squared is 81, x is the square root of 81. So x will therefore be equal to 9 because the square root of 81 is 9. So this will be 9 centimeters. You got this, right? Yep, very good. Part B. So for part B, um, you locate the hypotenuse, which in this case will be the 26. So we're gonna have 26 in brackets squared would be equal to 10 squared plus x squared. The hypotenuse squared is equal to the sum of the two other sides where each side is squared. So I could flip it one time. So I'm going to get x squared plus, well, 10 squared is 100, and that is equal to 26 squared. 26 squared is 676. 676, yeah. So x squared is basically 676 minus 100. So x squared is equal to 676 minus 100, which is 576. So therefore x squared, well, man, why did I put back x squared? So x would be equal to the square root of 576. So x would therefore be equal square root of 576, 24. So this would be 24 meters. Understand this, right? Right. Now part C. Part C, the opposite 90 degrees will be x. So this will be x squared because x is the hypotenuse. X squared will be equal to 4 squared plus 3 squared. So x squared will therefore be equal to 16 plus 9. So x squared would therefore be equal 16 plus 9 is 25. So x would therefore be equal to the square root of 25. So x would therefore be equal, square root of 25 is 5. So x is 5. Well, I didn't give units for this one, so I'll just put in x as 5. Good with this, right? Nice. So now part D. Um, the opposite side in this triangle here will therefore be x, because this is opposite the 90-degree angle, so this is called the hypotenuse. So you're going to have x squared is equal to 6 squared plus 8 squared. So x squared is equal, 6 squared is 36 plus 8 squared is 64. So x squared would therefore be equal 36 plus 64, which is basically 100. So therefore x will be the square root of 100. To get rid of the square root of x, you find the square root of x. Well, to get rid of x squared and get x, you find the square root of x squared. You'll get x. Right? And then you need to find the square root of 100 as well. So get x is the square root of 100, which is basically 10. This will be meters. Right? The next part, we have, well, the last part, part E here. The opposite 90 degrees will be the hypotenuse. In this case, is 10. So we're going to have 10 squared is equal to 6 squared plus x squared. So we're going to get 100 is equal to 36 plus x squared. So x squared will therefore be 100 minus 36. So x squared will therefore be equal to 100 minus 36, which is basically 64. So x will be the square root of 64. X will therefore be the square root of 64. We get whole numbers there. 8. 8 centimeters. Right? So you're good with this, right? This topic? Right. So that is Pythagoras theorem there.